Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with some more MBTI. Today we're going to be diving back into our introverts. We're going to be dealing with my own personal one this time. We're going to be dealing with the INFJ. So let's dig in and see what's up. The INFJ is going to be entirely concerned about what they consider to be the best option, the best idea going forward. They are going to see the path and be unwaverable on that path. They're going to base that off of what they consider to be the best choice, the best idea. That's the divine slide. And the crown slide is going to be feeling. So you're very much concerned about the ethics of the tribe. You're very much concerned about how other people are going to feel because of my actions. The third eye, which you're going to get defensive over for the INFJ, is going to be the TI. That is going to be what I think, my own personal thoughts, my own personal logic. But for the alternate, that's going to be SE. That is going to be current things. That's going to be exploration. It's going to be all the new things. For the throat, the part that you miscommunicate, for the INFJ, that is going to be your SE. That is going to be the current things. That is going to be exploration. That is going to be giving sensation and completing tasks. For the alternate, that is going to be TI. That will be your personal thoughts and logic. It's going to be how you make decisions in your own mind. The heart slot is going to be future possibilities and foresight for both of them. So you're going to have a really hard time seeing new possibilities. You're going to be good at determining which one of those possibilities is the best, but you're going to have a tendency to overlook them. Overlook the options. Solar plexus is going to be dealing with past feelings and morals. This is about your feelings, your morals, and you don't get a whole lot of energy here either. The sacral is going to be dealing with other people's thoughts and the rationale of the tribe. This is the trickster. This is the part that trips you up. This is the part that you push back against and just get wrong. And for the INFJ, that is TE. For the alternate, that's going to be SI. It's going to be what has happened in the past and the things that have happened and the sensations and experiences that I have had in the past. And for the base, that is going to be SI for the INFJ, and it's going to be what has happened in the past. It's going to be the actual physical things that you have already put your hands on, and it's going to be the sensations and experiences and memories that you have had in the past. But for the alternate, that is going to be TE, and it's going to be other people's thoughts and rationale. Now, how do we assimilate this bit? How do we bring this and integrate it into part of who we are? You're going to start at the base. You're going to go and look and stop and consider. For the INFJ, that's going to be, you're going to have to stop and consider your past experiences and whether or not they are affecting your forward experiences in the way that you think. You're going to have a tendency to get stuck here. There's a lot of energy that comes in at the top and the bottom. They get a lot of information in those two slots, and they can be overpowering. In the base, if it gets overpowering, you can get stuck in reliving the same incidents over and over and over. Or you can have the wrong thing because you've chosen the wrong thing over and over and over. This is the base for addiction. This is the base for not completing tasks. That's SI is not really completing the task. SE is good for completing the task. SI is more for knowing what tasks need to be completed. It's also got a lot to do with memories, and it's got a lot to do with structure. So you're going to have a hard time making lists and keeping to a schedule and doing the things that are necessary for everyday life. You're going to have a really hard time organizing things in projects or keeping things straight, organized, and tidy. It's going to be an issue for you. So you're going to need to take the time to actually structure your life. You're going to need to actually take the time to make sure that you are paying your bills on time. Make sure that you are eating on time. Make sure that you are taking a bath and cleaning yourself and hygienically taking care of things. You're going to have a tendency to not do that. It is what it is. So if you take the time to actually stop and consider these things and to do them, you're going to have to spend some time in your memories and pick through them and figure out how it's actually affecting your life in a negative manner, because chances are that one thing that you were holding on to was not the positive thing. It can be. You can be stuck on this one positive experience that you had 20 years ago, And it's going to keep you in that same zone forever because you'll never let it go. But more than likely, what is happening is you had an unpleasant experience, and that has shaped how you react to things from that point forward. And so your past experience of abuse makes me, like me specifically, because this is me, right? I had a lot of abuse in my history. I've talked about that in other videos, but it has made me hyper vigilant. It has made me hyper reactionary. I'm not the one that you want to come up behind and sneak and poke, because my past experiences have taught me that if somebody comes up behind you, they're probably trying to take you out. And so you got to react. And I do that on an instinctual level. But it is possible to get past that. It is. If you can spend the time in your memories and figure out what actually happened, because chances are you are not remembering what actually happened in full context correctly. So take the time to do that. For the TE, this is going to be other people's thoughts and other people's rationale. So you are going to be okay more than a regular INFJ with going along with the crowd. And you're going to tend to choose the wrong crowd to go along with. That's the thing that happens. But you're going to be very much more concerned about your own thoughts than other people's thoughts, but you don't think that deeply. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but you really live more on a superficial level of skimming the top of a subject. You're not really digging into a subject and really understanding what is going on. Instead, you're just kind of skimming the top of what everyone else has done and then choosing something out of that, but it's probably the wrong thing that you're choosing. And that's going to influence your NI, which your best possibility, right? So you're choosing the wrong thing and thinking that it's the best possibility, and then just going all in on that because that's what you do. So you're going to need to take the time to actually consider the whole input of everyone. You're going to need to take the time to be extra vigilant in making sure that you understand the other side of the argument, because when you choose the wrong idea, you're all in on it, and that's a really bad thing because it can really mess you up. So take the time to consider other people's thoughts, other people's rationale. It is dealing with current thoughts more than future or past. It's more of a in the present type of thing. And this is something that you need to bounce off of people. If it's an E, you need to bounce it off of people. That's part of what it does. And so you're going to have a tendency to not do that. You're going to have a tendency to keep it to yourself, but you're not logically consistent in what you're doing with it. So you just need to take the time to do that. You need to take the time to actually consider the full implications of what you're doing there. Now we can move on up. We're going to move up to the sacral. This is the trickster energy. This is what really throws you off. And I'm sorry if y'all can hear all of this. They're dumping the trash. My dog just went nuts. For you, in order to get past your trickster and as an INFJ, this is other people's thoughts and rationale. So you're not just skimming the top like an alternate is. You're actively picking the wrong things. You're actively taking what the tribe is saying as the wrong intention behind it. I have that problem myself. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, if you're unaware. And sometimes I have a tendency to pick out the exact wrong thing from what the tribe's actual intentions are. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm right with that. But it is more often than not, I am reading the bad intention into the situation, whether or not it is warranted. And so you need to take the time to stop and slow down and consider the fact that you are choosing the wrong side of things. You are choosing to pick out the wrong part of the information. So go through the entirety of the information. Understand the tribe's rationale. Why do they think that this is a good idea? You don't. You think it's a terrible idea. You're probably right. But why do they think that? There is a chance that you are wrong. There's always a chance that you are wrong. And checking back against the tribe is the way to ensure that you're not being detrimentally harmed by that. Like, because that's what will happen in your trickster energy. You will choose the wrong people to associate as your tribe. You will listen to the wrong input. You will pull the wrong things from conversations. You will misunderstand the rationale and actively choose the wrong thing. For the alternate in the sacral, the trickster energy, that is going to be SI. That is going to be what has happened in the past. So you're actively choosing to remain in those experiences. Whereas I had the experiences and they instinctually affect me. You are actually choosing that. You're actually saying, remember this one time when I was 13 and I fell and I scraped my leg. I'm never going to go bike riding again. And you every day are choosing the same thing. You see this a lot with grieving parents. And this is something I'm an FE dominant, right? This is my responsibility. If a parent loses their child, as terrible as that is not something to base your entire life around. That is the energy that we have here, though. This is somebody that wakes up every single day, and instead of counting the blessings of the time that they got blessed with their child, they are miserable every single day about that loss. And it doesn't have to be the loss of a child. It could be the loss of a job that you had 20 years ago and the company went defunct, but you still hold on to that job. Or this TV show that got canceled even. And you hold on to that. Firefly, what's up? And so you need to spend time in those past events and get past them. Life is about progress. It is not about stagnation. And this SI sacral is really a stagnant energy. It is actively choosing to remember the bad things. It is actively choosing to not structure your life. To say, I don't need a schedule. What do I need a clock for? Why do we need government? Why do we need taxes? Those things are needed and necessary, and I know that's going to set somebody off, but that is a necessary thing. And you need to structure your life around the actual reality of your life and less about what you remember of it. You're going to have a really hard time with that. Keeping to a schedule, showing up to work on time, oh my God. Now, to me, with my SI base, I understood that I had a problem with that. So now I am religious about it, right? I am 50. If I'm 10 minutes early, I'm 5 minutes late. I am 15 minutes early to everything. And that is one of my instinctual reactions is I got beat enough for missing that I know better than to miss. And so that is me getting stuck in my SI base, whereas an SI sacral is going to be, I refuse to be on time because you expect it from me. Because the tribe's rationale is that I need to be here, I am actively going to choose not to show up. That's that energy. And so you need to spend time and look at that in yourself. You need to figure out where you can structure your life and feel comfortable about it. You will increase that over the time. But as a start, as a minimum, you need to figure out where you can structure your daily life to where you are consistent in an actual schedule. That doesn't mean that it has to be a work schedule or dependent on someone else, but this is something that you need to be comfortable with. I want to wake up at this time every day. I'm going to do this every day first and then make a list of what you need to accomplish for you every day and then do it every day, regardless of whether you feel like it or not. You have to get up and push through that. And if you do that with those two, then you're really going to firm up your base and your sacral, and that's going to give you a foundation for the rest of this. The solar plexus, this is what's going to feed you, right? This is this area here. But you don't get a whole lot of energy from it. And so, or to it. And so you need to intentionally feed this spot. For us, the INFJs, this is going to be past feelings and morals, right? we're not really going to give too much care or thought to our own feelings. It's okay that I am not satisfied in my relationship because the other person is. Is this energy? Oh, it doesn't matter what the relationship is. It could be a romantic one. It could be a professional one. It could be recreational. You don't feel good about being there. You're not happy with where you're at, but the other person is. And really to you, that's all that matters, is that the other person feels good. Especially for us. Like, that is hardwired in a really real way. And so we need to stop and take time to consider our own feelings and to realize that those feelings are valid regardless of what they are, and that there are ways to correct the things that make us actually feel bad. We don't have to live with that. We don't have to accept that we have to feel bad for the next 40 years. If you're in a bad relationship, even if you've been there for 25, 30 years, you still got time ahead of you, more than likely. And so you've got another 20 or 30 years of this. Are you willing to put up with that for another 20 or 30 years? Or do you want today to change that? And if you want today to change that, spend some time figuring out how you actually feel. What is it that is missing from your relationship? It can be physical contact, and that is highly likely with an INFJ. But it's also the emotional connection, because you don't really check back with the tribe on their thought, and that is your tribe, right? So you're not really checking back with your partner on how they actually feel. You're just assuming you know, because that's your FE responsibility. And you are looking forward with your NI into how you think they will feel with your FE. And that is how you shape what you feel. Well, you got to change that shit. Your feelings are just as valid as everyone else's. Your needs are just as valid as everyone else's. And so I'm not telling you to be a narcissist by any means, but you need to be less of a doormat. You need to be less of what can be walked on. Now, that is specifically dealing more with your tribe, because you don't really have a problem standing up for what you believe to someone outside of your tribe. So you're very much concerned about the feelings and the sensations for your tribe, but you're really not that much for the rest of them. So you need to stop and take time for that too, and consider the other people and how your morals affect other people. You're going to be fairly decent about standing in your morals, because you're going to be pretty good about willpower, like really good about willpower, because NI is all about willpower and creating the actual path forward. And so you just need to make sure that your morals are actually good ones. Make sure that you actually feel and understand why you feel, what you feel about things. You're going to have a tendency to just let other people's ethics define your morals. And if you can define your own morals for yourself, it gives you a much firmer foundation going forward to build the life that you actually want. That's going to bring us into the heart. This is what you really want to do, right? And what you really want to do is figure out all of the options, right? Specifically for the tribe, right? You want to give the tribe all of the best options. You want to take the ideas, figure them all out, and then narrow them down into this one. That's what the NINE there is. And you're going to not be very good at that. You're not going to be good at seeing the possibilities. You're going to think you're good at it, but you're really not. Because you are so good at picking out of the options presented, or that you have collected, you're good at picking out the best one of those. But you have a tendency to overlook some other options, some things that are outside of your normal scope of living, of your normal scope of understanding. And because you're not bouncing back TE to the tribe rationale, hardly at all, or you're choosing the wrong part of that, then you're going to have a hard time seeing the possibilities that will come from the tribe's part of it. You're pretty good at figuring out what your part of it is. It's the other part that's really going to trip you up. So you need to stop and check back with the tribe on the NE. Am I actually looking at the possibilities? Are these the actual possibilities that can come from this action? What is the most likely possibility to come out of this action? And is it the correct one? Is this what I want to bring into my life? Take the time to do that. And if you do that and you figure out how to do that, then you're really good at helping people with that, which is what you want to do. That's going to bring us into the throat. We're in the top half of the stack. This is the stuff you use more actively and better, but not always in the right way. And in your throat, you're going to have a tendency to miscommunicate things. You're going to have a tendency to oversimplify or to over-explain it, depending on how your stack's built. For the INFJ, you're direct. So you're going to have a tendency to not explain enough. And your throat is going to be current things and exploration. So you're not going to communicate very well the actual things or the actual experience that you're trying to give or the actual job that you're trying to complete. SE is about completing jobs, and you're going to be able to complete jobs, but you're not going to do them quite right. They're going to be just a little bit off every time because you're going to have a tendency to want to rush through it and get to the next best idea. You're going to need to slow down. You love giving people experiences. That's what SE is about. It's about giving experiences to the tribe. The experiences of these new things. The experiences of this new experience. This new physical thing that I'm bringing into your life that you can experience. That can be sexual, but it can also be non-sexual. But you are going to have a tendency to want to please your lover, right? You're going to be decent at it, but you're going to miss what they're thinking. You're going to miss their actual feelings. And so you need to take the time to slow down and bounce back against the tribe. Do you actually like these things? Do you actually want these things? Is this an actual value-added thing that I'm bringing? Because you have a tendency to bring in all the things, even if they don't necessarily add value. So take time to stop and consider that. To stop and look at the things that you are actively bringing in. The things, the physical things that you can put your hands on. And the actual experiences that you are relaying in real time. Not past experiences, but things that you are giving to the tribe to experience. That can be emotional or physical. The TI alternate, the alternate throat is going to be TI. And you're going to have a hard time expressing your own logic, how you came to the decision that you did. That's a little bit easier to deal with, right? Because you can take the time to figure out, okay, this logic right here goes in this way. And you need to take the time to yourself to sit and make sure that you are going through your logic in the correct manner. Yes, no checks. Logic is all about yes, no. And so, is this a value-added thing, right? Yes or no. Do I need to do this? Yes or no. Take the time for that. This is going to be your own personal thoughts. So you're going to have to spend some time and figure out what you actually think, right? This is part of your, like going back to the solar plexus to feed you and figuring out where you feel things. Part of that is figuring out how to think about things to make sure that your logic is consistent in your decision making, because that is going to make a big difference in your life. If you're making decisions off of flawed logic, you're going to make the wrong decisions. That's just how that's going to work. You're going to be like, I don't understand why everything just goes to shit. Well, it's because you're not spending time in your logic. You're not making sure that what you are doing is actually what you want to be doing. It's really that simple. All right, the third eye. This is looking forward. This is trying to find the path forward. This is very much your defensive spot. This is what you are going to get very defensive over. For the INFJ, that is going to be your logic. Guilty. I know where my logic is based. Like, that is one thing I spend a lot of time in and have since childhood. I know how I make my decisions. I didn't know what I actually felt about them. I didn't know whether or not they were actually good ones, but I could make them. Right? And so I get really defensive if you come against me from my logic. If you part of what I am doing here is working through my TI child. I am expressing to you my logic and making sure that it is consistent, right? I go back and watch my videos so that I make sure that I am logically consistent. That is me actively working on my TI child. And let me see if I can pull this in for y'all real quick. I don't know if I had this. We'll just call this TI. I found a meme that will actually work for this really good. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. Right here. All right. Let's let y'all look at this. Let me pull it up where it's a little bit bigger. Y'all going to have to look at my smiling face for a second, but this right here is a very good example of the TI child. Let me get it where I can see it too. That's the wrong one. I know. I'm taking too long. Taking too long, Pitt. What the hell? All right. I need to see it too. 2,000 miles isn't that much, honestly. I could drive that much in a day. Your logic is flawed. Right there. You're flawed in your logic. And your friend, who is TI parent, that's what this other, the blue is TI parent, the red is TI child. Or, yeah, if you drove a steady 75 miles an hour without ever slowing down or stopping, it would take you over 26 hours to drive 2,000 miles. More than a day. Well, here comes the TI child. No, I've already decided I could do that in a day. My logic has said that this is possible to do in a day. Well, assuming you're correct, then let's suppose that I didn't sleep to have more time in a day. Then I could probably make it. What are your sources for your data? Math. My sources are literally math. Well, I'm not sure if I agree with that. That is TI child all day, every day. It is also TI parent all day, every day. But that is for sure a TI child. You're trying to tell me that my logic is wrong? Man, fuck you. No, you don't get to tell me that. But it is. It really is wrong. So take the time to consistency check your logic. Make sure that you are actually working in a fact-based situation. Consider the rationale. I know that's tough. I know you want to choose the wrong rationale. But if you can take the time to consider the rationale and fix your logic, it's going to benefit you greatly. You're going to quit miscommunicating to people what you actually mean. For the alternate, that is going to be SE for the third eye slide. You're defensive over the things. You're defensive over the sensations. So your energy here is going to be more of a, I gave you this sensation, you should feel good about it. Whether or not they actually do, like you're not really considering them. We're about to get into the FE, but you're not really, like, you're trying extremely hard to give someone a good experience with a thing. That can be a vacation, that could be a car, that could be a TV, it can be any physical thing. It can be sexual. But you're trying to give them this sensation, but you're doing it wrong, man. And when you do it wrong, you get defensive over the fact that it's wrong. Like they're telling you, like you're trying to give them a vacation, right? And you're like, hey, I gave you, here's this thing, this vacation, and this should make you feel great about it. And you're going to go fishing for 3 days. Well, they don't like to fish. You didn't take the time to check their TE to see if the tribe actually wanted to go fish. You just assume because you like to fish and that's a great experience for people, that other people will be okay with it too. And that's not how it works. You need to take the time to consider whether the things you are actually bringing to people in order to give them the good experience, which is what you want to do, is actually giving them a good experience. Like, are they actually enjoying themselves with it? And quit being so defensive if they're not. Just because you gave it to them doesn't mean they have to accept it. It doesn't mean that they have to take whatever it is as part of them, and they don't owe you a damn thing behind it. And so you need to actually slow down and consider whether or not the experiences that you are giving are good. And if they are, Don't be defensive if they're rejected. Like, even if they are the perfect gift, somebody can still not want that from you specifically or at all. I don't have the time to go on a vacation, or I'm not in the position to go on a vacation, even if it's paid for. And so you need to not be offended by that. You're going to want to. You're going to want to be like, how dare you reject my thing? Don't do that. Give freely. Give abundantly. You love to do that, but make sure that you are giving something that actually brings value to the other person. All right, so now we're getting into the easy part, right? The crown and the divine. The crown is what you feel responsible for, and for us, that is going to be the tribe's feelings, future feelings, how they will feel going forward, and the ethics of the tribe. So it's our job to course correct the ethics of the tribe. We do that by looking at the box, right? That is the NI, is the one idea. And so we try to filter everything through that one idea and then give it back to the tribe in a way that they can digest. You have a tendency, however, to be overbearing in this. To consider your willpower, NI is willpower, as well as best possibility and guidance. It is the actual willpower to bring the idea into focus. It is standing in your decision regardless. And you're going to have a tendency with the FE to make the decision for other people about their feelings without actually taking the time to consider what their feelings are. Now, most of the time, you're going to be right. This is a 70 plus percentage. You're going to be right 70 plus percent of the time. But the times that you're not, you're really going to offend people. You're going to have a tendency to be blunt with what you are thinking. Now, you're considering the tribe's feelings of who you consider the tribe. So you will soft step around your tribe. You will hold your tongue and not relay your own personal thoughts if you think that it's going to give a bad sensation and bad feelings, either one and or. And so you will do that around your tribe. But for everyone else ever, you're not going to care. You're going to feel responsible for making sure that they're actually following ethics. And that is the ethics that your tribe has decided on. Not necessarily humanity as a whole, because your tribe can differ from my tribe or from my wife's tribe or anybody else's tribe. And so you need to expand your tribe is what you basically need to do. Because you're really good at tailoring your message for your people, for your tribe. You're very good at delivering the course correction in a positive manner. But if you feel like these people are not part of your tribe, you are blunt, like roughly blunt. And if you don't feel like people are following the ethics that you are laying down, you will drop them out of your life. You will say, done. My willpower says you are no longer allowed here. You are not part of my tribe. I will not talk to you. I will not tell you why I did it, because my TI is too low for that. I'm defensive, or I'm miscommunicating it. And so I'm not going to tell you why I cut you off. I'm not going to allow you the chance to consciously choose to course correct. I'm just going to cut you off. And I won't talk to you. I won't call you. I won't associate with you at all. If I see you, I might tell you hi. It's really that level of energy. And that's not a positive thing. Being able to cut people off is sometimes absolutely necessary, but it should not be default programming. It should not be where you go first. You have a tendency, when you're trying to course correct people, to not let them know that you're trying to do that at all. You're trying to be the example instead of telling people what your rationale is. Now, if you work through the rest of your stack and you've actually got your logic consistent and you understand everyone else's rationale, then you can communicate that better. So if you've worked through the rest of the stack, working on this is easy, because all you got to do is expand your tribe. You need to accept that some people are not going to be exactly what you want them to be. And that's okay. They are sovereign humans. I'm not telling you that you have to sit down and eat with somebody and break bread or to freely associate with somebody, but you do have to consider their feelings. You do have to consider their thoughts. You do have to consider all their experiences and their possibilities. You have to consider that. You have a tendency to want to stay in your box and to go forward with just your own box without considering anybody else. Now, you think you're doing that. You really do. You're like, well, most people need to feel this way. That's going to be something you say a lot. I feel that this is the moral choice, even though I don't really feel that. I'm just going by what everybody else has told me. And therefore, our ethics need to be set here. And then you are stuck right there without considering anybody else's possibilities. Consider the possibilities. That's going to lead us into the divine. And the divine is NI. It is guidance. It is best possibility. This is what you do without even thinking about it. 90+% of the time, this is right. You are doing this correctly most of the time. You are actually choosing the best thing. But that 10% or less than 10% is really going to bite you in the ass. It's really going to hurt you to get it wrong. If you're putting everything into the box, and if you're familiar with my journey at all from the other channel, like I was in a box. I had this box set up. And then I actually started doing the SI into the box in a way that is actually checking things, right? When I did my Bible studies over there, the way that wound up is because I was doing the actual SI and then doing it in a logical manner where the logic actually worked and actually considering what actually happened according to the accounts in the past, and then being like, okay, well, does that line up ethically and morally with what I believe? And no, it doesn't at all. It doesn't. The whole book of, well, the whole first book is just like, no. And then the second book's not much better. And then there's several instances throughout that's like, that's not my morals, period. And if this deity is going to bless these morals, then that's not my deity. That's all there is. And so, NI is all about willpower, and it is about shoving everything into that one box and then pushing forward with it. You need to make sure that your box is right, that your box is ethically sound, because that is extremely important to you. You think that it is, and you're probably right to a large degree. But if you're missing it, if you've got the wrong box, if your box is telling you to kill people or hate people or anything of that nature, it's the wrong box. If your box is all about material gain, it's the wrong box. And so you need to check your box. You need to make sure that what you are investing your willpower into is actually the best possibility. It's actually going forward as the best possibility. All right, so as far as work, right, as a profession, what do I want to do as an INFJ? That's tough. Like, if I knew that, I'd be in a much better position. Like, I rebelled and I went into construction because I didn't want to do what everyone else thought I should do. And I wanted to fit in with the crowd, and I wanted to give people good experiences and good feelings. So I did the easy thing and play along with the crowd. But if you can take your FI, your morals, and find the best possibilities for the tribe, and then narrow those possibilities down into the one, you're going to feel fulfilled. And so, again, this is a career counselor type of thing. This is a pastor type of thing. This is philosophy, teaching. As long as it's not overly precise teaching, right? You're not going to be the chemistry instructor. You're just not. You don't pay that much attention to the details, you're going to blow up a kid. So that's not what you need to do. But if you're teaching history, that's a little bit easier because there's less danger in it. But you're going to have a tendency, if you do that, to overlook details. You're going to be skim through the top of history and not give the whole thing. You need to take the time to actually do the whole thing. You're going to feel most fulfilled if you are giving possibilities to the tribe. What I am doing here is extremely fulfilling for me. Like, I'm pushing myself to the limits with my voice every day. I'm getting a little bit more function back every day. But if I could do this in person with people, that would be great. Like, I don't really like doing it over the internet. You don't read the energy quite right. But like career counseling, that would be a great fit for me. I could do that. You're going to be really good also at efficiency. Your willpower is so high that you're going to be really good at looking at these possibilities and narrowing them down, as long as you're considering all of them. So you're good at looking at processes and eliminating parts of it. Because your SI is so low, you don't want the processes, so you're trying to get rid of the extras. And you have somewhat of an understanding that in order to get things done with your SE, you need to follow a certain amount of processes, but you play fast and loose with the rules. These processes are here for a reason, but we can really skip this step. We can really skip this step. And then we're saving 30 minutes on this task that we really didn't need to do. But that is part of the reason why your SE doesn't complete like an SE user will. You don't spend the time to actually do it according to procedure, so it's just a little bit off. It's an 1/8 inch out of square over here, or that's just the line just a little bit out over there. And that is your SI on the bottom really not letting you pay attention. So if you're taking the time to pay attention, you're doing most of your work in the whole stack. Everybody uses the whole stack at all times. You're using it at different levels and with different efficiency. You're going to be good at streamlining, like cutting jobs. You're going to be great at that type of thing too. Like going in because you like the new experiences and seeing new things, and it's something that you can actually complete without too much structure. So if you're going in and this company is reorganizing and restructuring and they need to know who to let go, you're great for that. Or if they're doing something really inefficiently and they don't realize it, like they're doing it the way that they started, but things aren't working and they don't know why. So they bring you in and you're like, oh, well, that's because you're doing this and this. And then they eliminate that and it works. You're great at that type of thing. Efficiency coaching and like finding jobs for people, that's another good one. You want to make people feel good. The FE and SE are about other people's feelings and other people's sensations. Like, yes, it's about ethics, and yes, it's about exploration. But a large part of that is also how other people feel and are other people having a good experience. And so with the alternate here, you got the FESE in that loop. So you really get stuck in that. You really get in, are people feeling good about what I am giving them? And you're getting defensive over that, so you push back against that. Your best thing is going to be giving experiences, especially giving good feelings. Making people feel better is going to make you feel better, especially if you're giving them more possibilities. As far as a sexual partner or a relationship, you need somebody that's got your sacral in their top half of the stack. In the first four, divine, crown, third eye, or throat, they need to have TE for an INFJ or SI for an alternate. Now, it is best if they have that in their third eye slot, because that is a direct correlation. And that directly feeds what you are lacking in yourself from your partner. And so that is going to be the best fit. But that's never to say that you have to be with this one type ever. It is like you can be, two INFJs can be in a relationship, but it's going to be difficult because you're going to bump heads a lot. You're going to get defensive over the same things. You're going to misunderstand the same things. So You really need somebody who will complement your weaknesses by having them as strengths. All right. Hopefully, I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too difficult topic. This is really easy once you understand the basics, especially for my INFJs. Y'all are going to get this and be like, oh, why did I not see this to begin with? Well, that's what I did. Like, I went through, like, I spent 2 months fixing my SI. I spent a lot of time in other people's systems for this. And it wasn't logically consistent, and I got defensive over that. I'm like, this type grid just does not work. There are variables that are missing. And if the variables are missing, then it is a mistyping. And so I had to break away from one person. And then I'd spend time in another one. And it's like, well, they are just adding too much to that. And so I got defensive over that. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You're putting too much into what this does. And so this has been a journey of me changing my box into something and then hopefully giving you a good feeling about it and a good experience about it in a logically consistent manner while bringing about more possibilities. That is what I am actively working for. I think I've found the right boxes now. Hopefully, I'm relaying that in a good way. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Till next time, I love you. This has been Pitt. Peace.